Right, so we have got Scott's joining us on this call today. Scott's, I've been working with Scott for, I think has it been four months, 3 months, something like that, Scott?
No, closer to 5.
Yeah, closer to 5.
Aye.
And Scott's made a lot of progress, changing his nutrition, getting some really great results for his fitness and his body. So we're going to have a quick chat about that. Scott, can you just give us some insight to what are the reasons that you wanted to change in the first place, mate? So before you even came across my stuff and you knew that I had a program running, how were you feeling before you got started? What were the reasons you wanted to change?
I think probably like most people my age, you start to slow down a wee bit. I'd always been really active. I had a wee girl 3 years ago, and before that I was a member of Nuffield Gym. I was there probably 5 days a week. Spent most of the time in the cafe, right enough, but I was there, and that was my level of fitness. Do you know what I mean? I was constant, always doing something different, whether it was swimming, running, weights, football. But the three years since my daughter was born, things move pretty quickly, and before you know it, you've got a 3-year-old. I was 35 years old. I hadn't done anything properly in a long time. Still played a lot of football. Still play competitively. So I was still training twice a week and playing on a Sunday. But that was me being fit. And I suppose at 35, you think, I don't know if it's a misconception, but you can't really better yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're the best version of yourself that you are at 35. Time restraints, work. So there's not really a lot you can do about it, mostly if you've got a 3-year-old as well. And being tired all the time, coming home from work. There wasn't really much energy to do anything more than I was actually doing.
Right, so what was the reason that you wanted to get some coaching then? What made you think that you wanted to change something?
I think I'd always when I went to the gym, I used to go to the gym with different people who, you've probably been to the gym with these types of people who tell you what they know, and you kind of pick up bad habits. So for me, when I'd obviously followed your stuff for a while on Facebook, the videos and stuff like that, and your attitude towards training was quite good. For me, it was very like-minded. I thought we were kind of the same ages, same kind of, obviously we both get kids, we're probably busy dads. So I'm looking at your stuff thinking, what can he teach me? Like, there must be something different. There must be more to this, because I'm like a busy fool. I can lift weights all week and not see any results. Yet you stand beside somebody in the gym who looks as if they're doing the same thing as you and looks 20 times better. So for me, it was probably the nutrition side of it as well was huge for me, because I thought I knew what good looked like. I was very wrong. But for me, obviously, the biggest part of it, really, the nutrition was huge. Like, absolutely huge.
So just before we got started working together, obviously, like when you're about to sign up to some coaching, right, it's like a big step, because it's now like, right, I'm kind of taking this seriously now. And a lot of the guys I speak to have a little bit of kind of nerves about that kind of thing. So were there any apprehensions that you had? Was there any worries you had about starting the program? And if so, what were they, mate?
I think obviously at the time we're bang in the middle of lockdown, or we were just about to go into lockdown when I contacted you, and I'd actually nearly done it a couple of times with some of the programs that you followed, but the timing was never right. And I mean, literally to the point where whether I was going to DM you or send you an email based on one of the emails that you'd sent out, but it never quite happened. But this time, for me, the timing was right. So apprehension wise, I had nothing to lose. I was going to be locked in a house for X amount of time. I wasn't spending any money. My vision of kind of fitness at that point was going out for a run, because we were only allowed out once a day. So I thought, this guy can help us here. So apprehension wise, I don't really think there was anything there. The plan we went on, I think, was a 90-day plan for me. It was value
60.
for money.
We did 60.
60. I keep saying 90. The 60-day plan for me, it was value for money. And at the end of it, I knew that it wasn't that big of a commitment. So it was 60 days, and I'm saying to myself, it's 2 months. 2 months of your life. Boris is telling you you're going to be in a house for 2 months anyway. So let's see what you can do in the next 2 months.
So how did you find the program when you got started? What were some of the things that you liked about it?
The pace of it. I think I expected to go into a 60-day plan with it being quite fast paced because it was only 60 days. I expected you to be like, you're going to do X, Y, and Z today. You're going to do this the next day, and so on and so on. I remember the plan coming into the scheduler, and it was like a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. And I went out because the weather was pretty decent at that point, in my makeshift gym that I'd made on the patio, and came in after doing the exercise that you'd done, that you'd put in a schedule, and thinking, maybe I'm fitter than I should, like I'm making out here. Do you know what I mean? I should be blown, like absolutely blown. And the Wednesday came and the Friday came, and thought to myself, obviously, I think at that point we had, I can't remember, but the first, or make time, that was it, the first one you'd put in, make time for your workout. So for me, I'm thinking, I can do that. Like that's an easy one. The workouts, pace-wise for me, was excellent because at the start, I thought I knew how to lift weights. Okay, so I think the first one that you done, there was no weights involved. It was all body weight, and obviously I'd never used a resistance band in my life. So everything was body weight and resistance band, and I'm thinking, oh, this is quite easy. And then you wake up the next day and you realise that you're hurting in places that you've never hurted before. Stretching as well, like, was at the start of like, all the workouts that you do, you obviously do a warm-up. Never done a warm-up before in my life, before I'd done any form of exercise like that. So all of that changed. So that my whole mindset changed when it came to training. So you'd obviously put a program out for the 60 days that I thought was going to be ridiculously fast paced, and I'm thinking to myself after day one, right, I'm ready. I could do this again tomorrow. Feeling sore the next day, going into the Wednesday, obviously going into the Friday, and before I knew it, we were on to week 2 with a new habit in place. So it wasn't as fast paced as I thought it was going to be. It allowed me to obviously learn at a decent pace and retrain literally everything that I thought that I knew about training.
Yeah, I think that's so important because we can only learn so much at one time, especially when it comes to habits. You know, and that's why with the nutrition side of things, we do one thing at a time. We practice that for a week or so and then move on to the next one, because it allows it to become a little bit normal, you know, before we can start making more changes. And I find that a lot of people are surprised by that, because they think they're going to get all these rules on day one and all this restriction and deprivation. We're really, I don't think I ever said to you, don't eat this or don't eat that food. There was no rules like that whatsoever. It was just more focused on building in the stuff that we needed first. Great. So what are the physical results that you've seen from the program? What progress have you made, and how are you feeling about your progress and your results just now in your body in comparison to where you were before?
I think physically there's obviously there's no, I wouldn't say massive changes, because I'm quite lean anyway. I'm quite small in stature. So when we first spoke, obviously my weight wasn't completely ridiculous. I knew that I'd probably had to lose a couple of pounds here and there, and I knew that there'd probably be more inches that I lost than the pounds on the scale. So I was totally aware of that. And I remember, and I've obviously said to recently about the first pictures that I took. I did literally take the pictures and thought nothing of it, and thought, yeah, maybe a wee bit bloated. Do you know what I mean? Probably a can of iron brew that you had for your lunch type thing. And I said to you as well about shaving your hair was a bad idea. So that's probably what I took from that first picture. And it wasn't until 2 weeks ago that I compared the first picture to the pictures obviously now, like the most recent ones, and it is a completely different person. I look healthier. My skin's a different colour. That's probably lockdown sun right enough. But I've lost like 6 inches in my waist that I never thought that I could lose. Because I looked at the first picture and thought at the start, well, I can't lose any weight around my inches around my waist. But I've lost 6 inches around my waist. I've put 4 or 5 inches in my chest. My arms.
Your upper body is starting to really take shape now, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. My shoulders and my upper arms. I don't think you could have done anything with my legs right now. I think they're already big enough. But my arms, I've put 5 centimeters on my arms. Like,
that's amazing. I can't even do that in like a year.
Totally. Like, and I went back on the pictures, obviously through the weeks and the months, and I cheated a wee bit because you wanted obviously pictures every 2 weeks. And at the start I was doing that, but after a period of time I wasn't seeing any changes. So I left at the 4 weeks. And for me, the 4 weeks was obviously showing me bigger changes. But honestly, the picture, the before and after picture, I kind of looked at it and been like, completely different. Like in every place, obviously upper body, and delighted because I probably got to a stage at the training where I'm thinking, maybe this isn't working, or I'm not working hard enough. And comparing those two pictures was just enough for me to think, you know what, you've done amazing. Like, we're only a few months into this, and I've not been a monk. Like, I've totally not been a monk. There's not been much else to do other than kind of sit out in the garden and enjoy the sun with a beer.
You enjoy those bloody espresso martinis, don't you?
Espresso martinis. I don't know if there's any calories in them, right enough.
Of course there is. But they just don't count.
Yeah, exactly. But like I've not been a monk. Do you know what I mean? I've had cans of juice. I've replaced full fat juice with diet juice. I think you'd made a good point the other day about the service station, and there's always a better choice that you can make. And there is. And I never made those choices before. So instead of having a bar of chocolate, I now maybe having a banana. Do you know what I mean? Just to kind of stave off the hunger. If I want something sweet tasting, I'll have a kind of diet juice instead of having the full fat stuff. And that's my treats now. Whereas before, I would have been like, no, I'm going to have the Space Raiders, the bar of chocolate, and the can of juice. But it's just about obviously making better choices, and I think obviously it's ingrained now in what I'm doing.
Brilliant. Okay, mate. So, listen, for anyone who's watching this and was in a similar position or needs a bit of help losing weight, getting healthier, getting fit, and they've been watching my stuff and they've been on the fence, they've been thinking about it, what would your advice be to them right now?
I think going into it open-minded. I would forget everything that you know or what you think you know. Even for the likes of the 60-day plan that I went on, that was enough for me to get hooked and embed all of the habits that you gave me. So within 60 days, I already was living a much cleaner life with all of these habits and the training that you put in place. So don't have any apprehensions. It is what it is. It's retraining everything that you want to train. So the nutrition part of it for me was huge as well. So obviously, again, thinking I knew, or I thought I knew what was healthy because I ate pasta 6 days a week. Don't really eat pasta anymore. So everything like that. So if there's guys out there who are thinking that they are the only person feeling the way they are, like with their bodies, or I could do this, or I should do this, or I should get in contact, just do it. Because that's what I done. It took me probably a lot longer than it should have, because like I say, there was probably a couple of occasions where I went to DM you or went to email you and it went out of my mind, but there is no time like the present. We're not doing much else just now, really, are we?
That's a good point. Yeah, the only time that we have is now.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Listen, if you're watching this video and you do need some help, do me a favour. If any of this resonates with you in the slightest, send me a message, whether it's on Facebook or whether you email me, and I will. We can have a chat and see if there's anything that I can do to help get you on track and help transform your health and get you in shape. Scott, this has been brilliant. Thanks very much, mate. I really appreciate this.
No worries.
Good man.